Hey, what is up, everybody? This is your boy AJ Trip coming at you with another reaction video. This time, we're doing 25 worst TV spin-offs of all time, brought to us by our good friends over at List 25. This should be interesting. Let's go ahead and let's check this out.
Whenever a popular TV show comes to an end or reaches its peak, you can almost bet a TV spin-off is in the works. From The Brady Bunch to Friends, television has a long history of creating spin-offs to keep the magic alive. Sometimes they get it right, like Frasier or Family Matters, but all too often their ambitions unleash a real garbage fire. Usually failed spin-offs don't work because the producers didn't really understand the magic of the original. Whether it was picking the wrong character or the wrong premise, the new show didn't click. Whatever the case may be, audiences weren't fooled. Sure, they would watch for a few episodes, but eventually bail, letting it die fairly quickly. So, get ready to feel nostalgic, because I'm Michael List 25, and here are 25 worst TV spin-offs of all time. #25. Saved by the Bell, The College Years. After the long televised run of Saved by the Bell, producers thought everyone wanted to follow Zach Morris and the old gang into college. Not so much. The show only lasted one season, and just didn't have the same magic as the original. #24. The Ropers. A spin-off of the hit show Three's Company, all they really did was carbon copy the same show, but flip the script, making the character Jeffrey P. Brooks III the straight man to Stanley Roper. It was a disaster, and only lasted one season. #23. Caprica. This prequel spin-off to the popular Battlestar Galactica dives into the early years of artificial intelligence on the planet of Caprica. It followed two families, the Greystones and the Adamas, as the story unfolded. The show had good intentions, but ultimately didn't take off. #22. Beverly Hills Bunts. A spin-off of Hill Street Blues, this ill-begotten show followed Norman Bunts as he headed out to Los Angeles to open a detective agency. This is just one of the many poorly thought-out spin-offs that relocated a character and thought that would be enough. #21. The Cleveland Show. With the wild popularity of Family Guy, Fox decided to spread their legs and give the character Cleveland his own show. Except, he wasn't that funny of a character to begin with, and his new show was essentially just a carbon copy of the original. Despite that, they still gave the show 4 seasons before finally canceling it. #20. Private Practice. This show must have had fans, because it went on for 6 seasons, but we'd be hard-pressed to find one. Let's be honest, most medical shows do well regardless of quality. A spin-off of the show Grey's Anatomy, it followed neonatal surgeon Addison Montgomery as she goes it alone in Los Angeles. #19. The Tortellis. A spin-off of the mega-hit television show Cheers, it followed Carlo's ex Nick and his wife Loretta in Las Vegas. It aired 13 painful episodes before finally getting the axe. Why they didn't stop it at the pilot episode? We'll never know. #18. Models Inc. This spin-off of Melrose Place followed Amanda Woodward's mother as she ran a modeling agency in LA. Other than the fact that no one asked for such a show, the lack of substance, bad writing, and bad acting sank it. #17. Phyllis. This spin-off of Mary Tyler Moore follows her neighbor Phyllis as she leaves Minneapolis and heads out to San Francisco after the death of her husband. This show was doomed from the start, simply because no one liked her character to begin with. #16. Living Dolls. With Who's the Boss becoming a hit show in the 80s, and supermodels a big obsession at the time, TV producers thought they should make a spin-off combining the two, and thus, this show was born. However, it was universally panned by critics and only lasted 12 episodes. #15.
Like Halle Berry.
Aftermath. After the end of the hit television show MASH, CBS producers wanted to recreate the magic and greenlit Aftermath. It followed 3 familiar characters from the original show, but back at home trying to acclimate to civilian life. The whole thing was a recipe for disaster, and ultimately failed to meet audience expectations. 14. The Golden Palace. With the end of Golden Girls and B. Arthur's Dorothy getting married, television execs thought it would be a great idea to have the other three characters invest in Miami Hotel and see what antics they could get into. Of course, they couldn't recreate the magic of the show, and it was canceled after one season. 13. Booker. With the popularity of Johnny Depp on 21 Jump Street, why not try to carbon copy that magic with Richard Grieco on Booker? Well, that was the idea anyway. And it didn't work out too well. The show quickly went from primetime to outcast to canceled in no time. 12. CSI Cyber.
Somebody I don't even remember.
With CSI, CSI Miami, and CSI New York, you'd think audiences would have had enough of crime scene investigations. Well, apparently, they finally called it quits with CSI Cyber, a show less about crime scene investigations and more about cybercrime. Panned by critics, calling it an absurd police procedural, it was canceled after 2 seasons. 11. Law & Order, Trial by Jury. This spinoff was much more about law than order, focusing only on the legal side and the lawyer's process of building a case. It ultimately wasn't compelling enough to convince viewers to keep watching, and was canceled by NBC after 1 season. 10. Snooki and JWoww. Most can probably agree Jersey Shore was more than enough for anyone to handle, but apparently television execs thought it a good idea to give us this awful spin-off. Unfortunately, it lasted 4 long seasons, but that didn't stop critics from bashing it. 9. That 80s Show. With the immense popularity of That 70s Show, it stands to reason that another decade-based show would do well too, right? Wrong. Much like moving a character to a new location, you can't just move a show to a new decade and expect things to work out. From the characters hating each other to not really understanding what made That 70s Show work in the first place, this show didn't last too long. 8. The Lone Gunman. This X-Files spinoff might have been well-intentioned and a sillier take on the genre, but it never had a real reason to exist. Seeing this, audiences didn't like it, and the ratings for the show took a steep decline in its first season and was eventually canceled. 7. Baywatch Nights. Lifeguard by day, private detective by night, Mitch Buchanan was clearly a busy and talented man. In this spin-off, he fought drug dealers, business moguls, and kidnappers, but couldn't convince audiences to keep the madness going for a 3rd season. 6. Three's a Crowd. Another spin-off of Three's Company, it followed Jack Tripper and his love interest Vicky Bradford after they moved in together in the same apartment. It had 0 of what everyone liked in Three's Company, and ultimately failed because of it. 5. Buddies. After Dave Chappelle and Jim Breuer appeared on the ever-popular Home Improvement for 1 episode, someone thought it would be a great idea to give them their own show called Buddies. As you can imagine, it wasn't. Brewer's antics eventually got him fired, and he ended up on SNL. In the meantime, ABC only aired 5 of the 11 filmed episodes of Buddies before canceling it. 4.
That's interesting.
Joni Loves Chachi.
I remember that episode.
While Happy Days was a hit show, TV execs decided to catapult the beloved couple Joni and Chachi into their own spin-off, hoping it would lure viewers. It would kind of be like if execs of The Office decided to make a show called Pam Loves Jim. No thanks. Anyway, the sappy Joni Loves Chachi made it to a 2nd season and was then canceled. The duo returned to Happy Days and got married. Spoiler alert, I guess. 3. Time of Your Life. Hot off the success of Party of 5, Jennifer Love Hewitt's character Sarah got her own spin-off, leaving behind the Salingers in search of her father in New York. Despite Hewitt's popularity, the show was a train wreck that Fox tried to save, but ultimately canceled after perpetual poor ratings. 2. Joey. In some ways, Joey stands as a poster child for poorly conceived spin-offs, doing almost everything wrong and misunderstanding the character and the original show. People enjoyed watching the cast of Friends together, but following Joey, arguably the least likable character, to Los Angeles wasn't exactly a great idea. On top of that, the writing didn't stay true to the character and felt like an entirely different show. 1. The Brady Brides.
Ooh.
The Brady Bunch has had a number of spin-offs, but arguably none worse than this one. From a theme song that quickly got under your skin to a ridiculous premise about Jan and Marcia moving in together with both their new husbands, the whole thing lasted 6 long episodes before being pulled. So, what do you think was the worst spin-off?
I'm glad they
Let us know in the comments below, or tweet your answer to
that.
us at List25. Enjoying our lists? Be sure to click that subscribe button on the bottom right and the notification bell so you don't miss out on new ones every Monday through Friday. Share them with friends and help us consistently conciliate curiosity. And if you want even more lists, check out these videos here or just head to our website at list25.com.
Oh, that was very interesting. Some of those I don't remember. Some of those I do remember. Like I remember Models Inc. being on the show, being on TV. Because I actually think like back in the day, I would record TV shows and sometimes and Models Inc. came on before the TV show. Or maybe it came on the weekends. Maybe like they replayed it on the weekends before American Gladiators or something like that. So, or for like wrestling WWE Superstars or something like that. WWF Superstars back then. So, yeah, I remember Models Inc. Never watched it though. And then that other show was starring Who's the Boss. It looks like that the black girl is Halle Berry and the white girl down the bottom is Leah Remini. That's interesting. Alright, y'all, post your comments down below. Tell me what you guys think. You guys agree with that? I was never a Friends person, so I don't know if Joey deserves to be, up there or anything like that. So, and definitely like the Brady Brides. That's incredible. Like, why would you even do that? Whew, okay. Like, you know what they should do, and maybe they'll think about it, is that maybe what they should do is they should go back and go the 25 best TV spinoffs, or the 25 best the 25 TV spinoffs that were better than the original show. Yeah, I think there are probably enough out there to go 25. When he was doing his intro, he talked about Family Matters. Family Matters was a spinoff of Perfect Strangers, and Perfect Strangers was good. Family Matters definitely was better, and there were a lot of other ones too. You might say the Jeffersons. I would never say the Jeffersons was better than All in the Family. Some might say it was, and there's a lot of others out there too as well. So, yeah. So post your comments down below. Tell me what you guys think. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching. This is your boy AJ Trip signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there, and I am out.